from San Francisco, California. This is the Rock and Roll Geek Show. This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Monday, August 5th, 2019, and it is day 5 of the Dog Days of Podcasting, where I attempt to do a show a day for the entire month of August. This morning, where we're still in Marathon Key in the Florida Keys, it is the day before lobster season. Lobster season opens at midnight tonight. And we went out today for the second day to get practice up for catching lobster. I have never really free dove before, other than the one time I did it in Hawaii. And yesterday I practiced. Today I practiced a little bit more. Today I learned how to spot lobster. My friend Deborah, long time friend and former roommate, and even former girlfriend, but that's besides the point. My former roommate, pretty much my sister at this point, Deborah, went out there with me and Darren. The wife and all the other women at this house went to Key West. My stepdad John stayed here because he was worn out from yesterday. So Darren and I went on the boat, and Deborah came on the boat with us. And what we did today was we dragged behind the boat. My friend Darren drove the boat, and these lines with these, like, they're things called planers you grab hold of, and you just kind of like let yourself float on these planers, and you have your snorkel and mask and fins on, and you just look down below. The water's not like, it's like 6-7 feet most of where we went, and you just glide along until you see lobster. I had been doing this all day yesterday. I didn't see one fucking lobster. Today, I learned how to spot the lobster. Deborah stopped me. She said, "Hey, here's the lobster around here." And I got to where I could spot them myself, and had a real hard time catching them. You take this thing called a tickle stick, and you put it in, because they hide underneath these rocks, and you can see the two antennas like floating out. They look like cockroach antennas. You see the antennas floating out, and you take that, and you have a net. I thought you'd take the net and put it in front of them, because it seems most logical way to, it seems to me, you put the net in front of them, you put the stick behind them, you scoot them on the tail, and they go into the net. But I was completely wrong. You take the net, you hide the net from them, put them behind the rock, you scoot them out with the little thing called a tickle stick. It comes out of the rocks and shoots backwards. It like swims towards its tail and then into the net. All this while holding your breath down at the bottom. That was the hard part, because you got a current going, you got to swim against the current. You're holding your breath trying to get to the bottom and tickling the lobster and getting it into the net. I succeeded a couple of times. Deborah and Darren, they're pros at it. They just did it every time. But I did it a couple of times, and I was having just really hard time holding my breath, staying in the bottom. But I did succeed a couple of times. I did manage to spot lobster, so now I know how to see them. Then we met up with Deborah's husband, Jerry, and a bunch of other people that they're with. They had what's called an aqua lung, which is this thing that floats in the water, and it has a big tube, and the tube connects to your mouth with air flowing through it, and you put a weight belt on, you can just sink down to the bottom. We went down to this hole that was about 25 feet, and I sunk down to the bottom and breathed through this tube. Oh, so much easier. So we will see how we do tomorrow. That you're allowed to keep 6 lobsters a day, and per person. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, me, Darren, John, my wife, Darren's wife, and his 2 kids, 7 people times 6. Math ain't me forte. What's that? 7 times 6, 42 lobsters a day. They seem to think for sure we're going to get 42 lobsters, no problem. I think if I get 3 lobsters, I'll be extremely pleased. They have to be a certain size. And I lost she showed me this lobster that was underneath the rocks. That thing was the biggest lobster I had ever seen. I mean, just the tail alone must have been 12 inches long. That's a monster lobster. I lost that thing twice because I couldn't stay down there. And we saw another rock with like 3 lobsters in it. I couldn't stay down. I was real down on myself, but I did manage to get a couple. Had to let him go because you can't keep him until tomorrow. I took a couple of sea urchin, real tiny sea urchin, maybe about as big around as a silver dollar. Not much edible stuff in it, but I did eat some of the stuff in it. It was good. Just not enough in it. I'll try that as well. I have a spear gun. I'm gonna try to spearfish as well. So that's my update on the Keys. Now I have an audio comment, so I'm gonna play that right now. This is from friend of the show, Jason Smith. Hello, Jason Smith. Now I'm doing this on the Succeeder. The Succeeder, is that how you say it? The successor. I don't know. The follow-up to Boss Jock, which is called Backpack. Now you can't pause it and continue where you left off. So I'm doing this off the cuff, as they say. Let's try this, see if it works here. I probably gonna have to talk.
Hey Butler, it's Jason Smith here. I'm just going to phone you in a quick review of a show I caught Saturday night, July 27th here in Louisville, Kentucky at Headliners Music Hall. It was called the Cosmic Honkeytonk Review, featuring Chuck Mead, Jim Lauderdale, and Jason Ringenberg. First off, I know this is not the Country Western Geek Show, but I thought this might be of interest to you because it features Jason from Jason and the Scorchers. And it was pretty rocking. It kicked ass, and I thought it was worth.
I love Jason and the Scorchers. It's hard to talk and listen to this. I'm going to shut my mouth.
I didn't know what to expect when I went to the show. It was billed Cosmic Honkeytonk Review with those 3 guys. I thought it was going to be a regular show. What I expected was to see Jason open up solo acoustic, and then probably the other guys going on with the band. But that was not the case. What I got was actually a Nashville Grand Ole Opry style show featuring all 3
sounds
artists
like a great time.
Places on the stage and telling stories and corny jokes and dressed to the nines and, you know, these really fantastic Western clothes. And it was really, really fucking cool. I was shocked. The band is called the Grassy Knoll Boys. They normally back Chuck Mead, so you had kind of your typical honky-tonk arrangement. You had like a really slick guitar player. His name is Rich Gilbert. He used to play for Frank Black and the Catholics, and that was the only thing notable I saw on his resume. I was kind of researching him earlier, and they had another fellow on steel guitar and then a bass player and a drummer. So it was your kind of typical, you know, if you were to go see something at, say, Roberts in Nashville, it would be that kind of setup. Very, very, very much a country show. However, Jason Ringenberg was really, like I said, I expected him to do a solo acoustic thing. What I got instead was he was fronting with a full band behind him, and lots of energy out of that guy. I've never seen him before, but I saw him.
See, I can't pause it.
Between Hank Williams and Adam Ant.
I saw him in the 80s with Jason and the Scorchers at a college, and it was great. He
did a couple of Jason and the Scorchers classics. He did, in particular, they did the cover of Lost Highway by Hank Jr. I'm sorry, not Hank Jr., Hank Sr., in the kind of cowpunk style that they did. They did Broken Whiskey Glass, and they did Absolutely Sweet Marie. That was actually part of the encore. That's a Dylan cover that the Scorchers used to do. And they did another one too that I can't remember, a ballad. Anyway, Jason's got a new record out called Stand Tall. There's a standout track on there called God Bless the Ramones, and he did that one. I would suggest you having a listen to that. That's my top track of 2019 so far. Out of everything I've heard, that's been my favorite song. So you might want to check that out. Not too much to say other than that. It was a really, really good show. These 3 guys, their styles varied quite a bit. Jason obviously was kind of the, you know, ass-kicking cowpunk guy, and then they had another guy that was doing more roots honky-tonk stuff. Chuck Mead kind of leans rockabilly. There's a little bit of an alternative country vibe over the whole thing too, but done in this classic classic country kind of way, kind of like if you were to go down to somewhere in Nashville on the Strip and see a band. It's what you would expect. Very, very professional. Everybody looked great. Showmanship was there. Just an incredible show. It's coming to Colorado this weekend. I don't know if they've got any more dates scheduled. They just did a little mini tour up through the Northeast and Midwest, and I just happened to catch the tail end of it here in Louisville. But that's all I've got for this time. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. If it comes to San Francisco, you need to do whatever you can to see it. It's really great. That's all I got. Take care.
All right, thank you, Jason Smith. Cosmic Honkeytonk review. That sounds like a fucking good time, man. I'm gonna have to go see that if it comes. I doubt it'll come anywhere near San Francisco, but if you're around and see in the Cosmic Honkeytonk review, Jason Ringenberg, one of the great performers in rock and roll. I mean, when I saw them in the 80s at a college, Jacksonville University, I think they played at. It was Jason and the Scorchers. I don't know who else was on the bill, but I had a run-in with a bunch of skinheads that night. But the show itself was fantastic. And, of course, Warner Hodges on guitar is just enough said. But Jason Ringenberg, great front man, great singer, and just great all-around entertainer. So I would love to see Cosmic Honkeytonk review. I managed to find that song, to God Bless the Ramones. You know how difficult, because you can't buy songs on Apple Music now, at least not on the phone. So I had to. First of all, I'm gonna buy that album Stand Tall, because I love Jason Ringenberg. He's got a couple albums called Farmer Jason that are children's albums that are quality as well. I gotta look for those. I think I have one of them somewhere, but I had to look for it on YouTube. Go to some site where you can enter a YouTube link. It'll convert it to MP3. You can email it to yourself. Go check your email. Hit another thing, and then it gives you an option to put it on Dropbox. So I had to do all that, put it on my Dropbox, into Backpack, pull it back into Backpack from Dropbox. About 50 steps, and I managed to get this song, God Bless the Ramones, for free and illegally, but I'm going to buy the album. That's what I'm going to close off with, friends. Jason Ringenberg, God Bless the Ramones. The album is called Stand Tall. Thank you for listening. Oh, by the way, thank you to a new donor, Rodney Cross, friend of the show. He's a new Patreon donor. Donates $5 an episode. So thank you, Rodney Cross. I really appreciate it. And somebody else upped their episode donation too. Was it Kirk Crawford? I think it's Kirk Crawford. If I'm wrong about that, I apologize. But thank you to that person too. Thank you for listening, friends. Please keep the donations coming, because without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled, losing your breath underwater and drowning kind of death. rockandrollgeek.com is where you can find the show. Email me, rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Find me on the Facebook, RNR Geek. Find me on the Twitter, RNR Geek. Find me on the Instagram, rockandrollgeek. Don't ask. I should probably be posting some Instagram photos from down here. I've not posted one. I've been having such a good time. I haven't pulled my phone out to snap pictures. But I guess I better start doing that. I will do that starting tomorrow, I guess. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you tomorrow with Day 6. Here's Jason Ringenberg. God Bless the Ramones.
Of 82, I got a call from this New York dude. He had heard of the Nashville Scorchers, busting doors and lighting torches. This guy offered us a Texas tour, guaranteed to make us less obscure. It was opening for the Ramones, you see, in the Texas state of Missouri. And though we had no master plan, no amps at work, or a running van, we said yes, and away we went with $50 past due rent. We drove to Beaumont, Texas first, where college punks would quench their thirst on bands like Killing Joke and Black Flag, and bartenders all in drag. God bless the Ramones, they never made much money. Most folks never heard of them or thought we met, and Jeff couldn't afford bass strings yet. So Dee Dee gave him extra strings, some Ryder beer, and chicken wings. Then we opened up the show. There was so much we didn't know. Those college punks bombarded us with bottled beer and vile stuff. God bless the Ramones. They never made much money. Most folks either hated them or thought that they were funny. God bless the Ramones. They never sold their souls. The U.S. corporate radio and all that it controls. Now everyone loves the Ramones, with posters of them in their homes, and that t-shirt bankers wear on weekends when they drink and dare. But no one's left from that first band to take it in or make a stand. In all those years and all those miles, they barely spoke and they rarely smiled. 10,000 shows they gutted through for a small group of us who knew they were the first and they're still the best. The truly stand the punk rock test. God bless the Ramones. They never made much money. Those folks either hated them or thought that they were funny. God bless the Ramones. They never sold their souls. The U.S. corporate radio, all that it controlled. And I said, God bless the Ramones. They never made much money. Most folks never heard of them or thought that they were funny. God bless the Ramones. They never sold their souls. The U.S. corporate radio and all that it controls. Gabba gabba hey, gabba gabba hey, gabba gabba hey. Let me hear you play.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.